everybody, Marlene, aka Snow Gardener 307. We are here for this week's grocery haul. For those of you guys that have been following along, you know that we are taking part of the Three Rivers Homestead Challenge, and this is with Jessica. And of course, she has that you have to make your own rules. One of our rules is that we have $10 a week to buy groceries with, and we are also going to show you what we ate last week with our $10. And I am going to give you guys a spoiler alert. I have two things on my list that are going to be over the $10. So what am I going to do? All right, everybody, we're back to the house. We are here. We're going to talk about the meal plan for the week. We're going to talk about what we bought. We're going to talk about how much we spent, and then I'm going to let you guys know what I spent extra. And then we're going to go ahead and jump into the meals that we made this last week, because here at Snow Gardener 307, we are here keeping it real with you guys and showing you guys what we do. So let's go ahead and jump into the meal plan. So here is our meal plan for week 7. On Monday, we're going to do leftovers because this weekend we are making a roast chicken, and we're also doing tacos, so there will be leftovers. On Tuesday, we're going to go ahead and do a Big Mac salad. On Wednesday, we're going to go ahead and do sausages out of the freezer, and I want to try to make some homemade buns for the first time. Then we're going to go ahead and do homemade pizza, but I'm out of town for doctor's appointments, and if something happens and I'm out of town, I might just grab something like pizza from the town that I'm at 100 miles away. Just being real here, you guys. Then we're going to go ahead and do beef stew out of our home canned pantry. We're going to go ahead and do leftovers again because look at all these yummy meals. And then Sunday, my husband is going to make his world famous grilled cheeses. And I say world famous, but you ask anybody that's had one of his grilled cheeses and it's absolutely amazing. And of course, we've got that ham that we went ahead and put in the freezer, so we're going to pull some of that out and do grilled ham and cheese. So here we are, as I said, on our pantry challenge. We are rocking it for 10 weeks. We started in the middle of December. Our goals are listed down below if you want to know. And so today's date is January 27th. So you look, I actually shopped 5 times in January. But of course, this January is actually for the beginning of February. All right, let me show you guys what I got this week. So this is my haul this week. Nothing too exciting. We did go ahead and get a gallon of milk. We still have some milk in the fridge from the little cartons that I was showing you guys last week, but their expiration dates are all the 30th. And so I found this 2% milk right here that had an expiration of February 12th, which is amazing. And so the milk was $3.29. And then I went ahead and grabbed a natural sour cream for $2.19. And then, you guys, I got some raspberries because they were on sale and they were $2 and they looked amazing. And originally I had cottage cheese and raspberries on my list, but the cottage cheese was just too expensive, so I just ended up with the raspberries. And then I went ahead and grabbed some potatoes and some onions. Now, I planned on grabbing 2 potatoes because I wanted to do some baked potatoes maybe next week. But since I couldn't get the cottage cheese, I had a little bit of extra money, and I decided, you know what, let's get closer to 10 bucks. So I grabbed 4 of these baking potatoes, and they were on sale for 48 cents. So I got 4 potatoes for $1.14. And then we've got frozen onions, but sometimes you want fresh onions. So I grabbed these 3 fresh onions. There is 9.99 pounds there at $1.19, so $1.18. And I'm not going to show you my receipt right now because it's got some other stuff on there. So we spent $9.72. And of course, I put my marker away. So let me grab my marker. And I'll show you guys my receipt as soon as I show you what else I got. So we got $9.72 is where we're at for this week 7. And then, you guys, we talk about Prepper Pantry. So we're going to have some Prepper Pantry money here. And you get to set your own rules. So you get to determine what you want to do. One of the things that I went ahead and picked up, have been wanting to can. And so I picked those up so that I could can them. The other one is something that was on for a great price, and it's something that we normally buy almost every week or two. So here's the first thing that I bought. And so we've got some fresh jalapenos. I need to make some more jalapeno candy, and they're on sale for 98 cents a pound, which is really good in my area. And so I went ahead and grabbed 6 pounds of jalapenos to go ahead and can into cowboy candy. So this is definitely some Prepper Pantry money, and that in and of itself is less than $6, so not much. But here is the big expense right here. So is soda pop a necessity? Definitely not. Is soda pop something that we like? It is. So I talked to my husband. I let him know that this deal was around again. And he said, no, I think we should definitely do it. So they had the 24 packs of soda, the Coke products, on sale. Normally they're $14.99 a 12 pack or a 24 pack. And right now I believe the 12 packs are $7.99 for a 12 pack. So I had a coupon with my store, and these were on sale for $12.99, so it already took a couple bucks off. But then it gave you another $6 off. So that's $6.99 a piece for these. So I figured out the math. Let me go ahead and put it up here for you guys. And for the sodas, it is 29 cents a piece when you buy these at that price. And you could get up to 5. I actually called my husband from the store and said, okay, this is what they've got. What do you think? And I was originally going to get 1 Sprite for him and 2 Coke Zeros. And he's like, no, you should get 4 Coke Zeros. That's an amazing price. So that is what we did. So our grand total for our expenditures right here is $50.73. So if you look up here, you can see that they were already on sale for $12.99. But then you look right here, and I saved $30 on 5 12 packs of soda. So our Prepper Pantry amount right here, and this is going to be coming out of the January, is, let's see, so we spent $9.72, and our total was $50.71. So that equals $41.01. Right? I hope so. Doing math in my head is kind of tough. So $41.01. Now these two are out of the same month's budget. I gave myself $100 if I found any good sales. We bought 4 whole chickens January 14th, and you just saw what we bought here. So that is it. I can't even talk. That's it for week 7 and what we bought. Now let's go ahead and go into what we ate this week. We started out the week with eating out instead of eating leftovers like we had originally planned. Hey, you guys, we are real people. We eat out as well. I had some date night money saved up, so we went to our local brewery here, and I forgot to take many pictures. This was what was left over of the artichoke dip. So we're going to get started on the bread. I've got my recipe right here. Like I said, I have never made this before. I do need to get my warm water running, so I apologize if that's in the background. But I've got to get it warming because it's the middle of winter and it's cold outside and it takes a while. So we're going to need some water and some yeast, it says. So we're going to go ahead and put 1 tablespoon of yeast. So 1 tablespoon of yeast. We're going to go ahead and put 2.5 teaspoons of sugar. So we'll get that done, and then we'll get the water in. So 2.5 teaspoons, 1 teaspoon, 2 teaspoons, and since this is the first time I'm doing it, I'm going to go ahead and try to measure as good as I can. So we're going to go ahead and add 2 cups of water. This recommends about 105 degrees is what this says. I normally do about 110. If you're not sure how to do your water, go ahead and use a thermometer. Little thermometer like this is just fine. And then that way you know you're not killing your yeast. I always say it's kind of like, you want it about where you would have a baby bottle. Like, I think my water right here is too hot. Let's test it. That feels a little bit too hot. Let's see where we're at. Yeah, see, that's almost 120. And so the way that I used to test my son's bottles, of course, was to put it on my wrist. And that was a little bit too hot for me, so that's how come I knew. I should have just listened to my gut, but I didn't. So let's see that temp. We're going to need a little bit more water than that. But let's see. Yep, that's just about the right temp. We're going to get a little bit more water. And just like that. And then we're going to go ahead and get this mixed together. And we're going to let this sit for 5 minutes. Of course, we want to make sure that our yeast is actually alive. I have been using this yeast for quite a while, and it does sit in my refrigerator, so it should be just fine. I buy my yeast from Sam's Club in the brick because it's like, I don't know. When I bought it, it was less than $5 for a brick, and that's a lot of yeast. Now, you guys, I'm also wanting to start my sourdough adventure, but we shall see how that goes. Now the recipe says to let this sit about 5 minutes, and then in the stand mixer, it says to mix together 2 cups of flour and the salt. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Now this just says all-purpose flour. I've got bread flour. We're going to go ahead and do bread flour. So let's go ahead and get 2 cups of bread flour. This recipe actually calls for 5 cups and more as needed. I actually prefer using a smaller cup because of the size of my container. So let's go ahead and get this done. So we need 4 of these. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. And we're going to need to fill up our bread flour container again, but we've got plenty of bread flour. And then we're going to go ahead and do 2.5 teaspoons of table salt or fine sea salt, it says. And I am not used to using table salt for bread. I'm used to using kosher or stuff like that. So let's go ahead and get this done. So 2.5 teaspoons. That seems like quite a bit, but I don't know. This recipe makes 2 loaves of French bread. I will tell you guys though, I believe that I am going to make 4 loaves. So I'm going to make smaller ones. So 1, 2, and I said I was going to measure better. We're going to go 2.5. I threw them in the sink and they were wet like a silly, silly woman. I don't know what I was thinking. So we're going to go ahead and mix that together, and it says with the paddle attachment. This will be the first time that I've ever made bread using my KitchenAid too. So let's get this mixed up. Okay, you guys, we're going to check this. I've got a little bit more flour. The recipe does say to knead in 1/2 cup of the remaining flour in increments until the dough is smooth but not sticky. And it says, depending on the climate, you could use more or less than 5 cups. I have a little bit more. It says add more flour as needed. But with it being the first time that I've ever done it in the stand mixer and not doing it with my hands, I am having a hard time telling whether that is still sticky or not. I mean, it's, you know, obviously is around the paddle. So, and you guys, if you have any suggestions, if you are a bread maker, I am more than happy to hear them because I am brand new to this bread game and I am trying to up my game. I also want to do sourdough. Now, I've been reading a lot about sourdough, about creating my own starter. If you guys have anything, the best way to do it, let me know. I've seen a lot of them. I've seen a lot of contradicting things. And so I try to go to channels that I trust, people that I trust. That's what I do when I go for my canning recipes and such too. So let's go ahead and take this out of here and move the mixer on over, get it out of the way. All right, let's take a look. Let me put some flour on my hands. And of course, you guys, I have obviously washed my hands, but let's take a look. See, and there's still flour in the bottom of the bowl that didn't get quite mixed in. Sorry, you guys, I didn't have you on camera. So I feel like if I get that kneaded in, I feel like it will be okay. Because that's a pretty nice dough ball. Doesn't feel too sticky. Fills okay. There's a little bit of flour on the bottom, but I think we're going to leave that. I think flour just went everywhere. Okay, so now it says rub the olive oil around the dough ball, cover the bowl in a towel, and let rest 15 to 30 minutes. If you have more time, let rise for up to an hour. And then, of course, so this has got 2 risings basically, but I'm going to get a clean bowl to put that in really quick. All right, so let's take this dough ball and let's put it into this bowl instead. And I like putting my bowl in here. And it says 1 teaspoon of olive oil, so we're just going to kind of do what I do for my pizza dough. And I just put a little bit of olive oil in there, and you can see we've got flour on the bottom, but I'm not too worried about that. And then let's take this French bread and let's form it into a ball. And then let's rub this around in the oil. This is the way that I find it's most easy to cover. All right, you guys, then we're going to let this rest. We're going to let this rest about 30 minutes is what we're going to do. I'm going to set a timer and let this rest. And while the bread is resting, or the dough is resting, it is time to get started on lasagna. You guys, I love lasagna, but I don't make it very often, so I always make at least 2. I saw a video, I can't remember who it was, where they recommended blending your cottage cheese if you were going to use cottage cheese instead of ricotta. And I have to tell you, my husband said that this was his favorite lasagna ever. So definitely recommend it. Ricotta, of course, is not in our budget for $10 a week, and maybe homemade ricotta one of these days. And so I went ahead and mixed in some spices. You can see here that I just measure with my heart. So I've added in some Italian seasoning, some garlic salt, and then I'm also going to end up adding a little bit of pepper and a little bit of a garlic powder too, because I wanted a little bit more garlic. And I decided to mix it in my blender. I don't know why. Why do I do the things I do? I don't know. But I went ahead and transferred this into a bowl, and I went ahead and added a bag of Parmesan cheese into it. So this is my cheese layer for the lasagna. And like I said, this lasagna turned out great. Now, speaking of lasagna, my husband and I are now empty nesters, so there's only 2 of us. So I decided to go ahead and make some smaller lasagnas this time. Oh, now we're back to the bread because it was done resting. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this into 4ths is what I'm going to do. Because like I said, it's just my husband and I. We don't need a great big huge loaf of French bread. We have got sandwich bread right now. Maybe in the future, I'll make this bread up and we'll cut it up for sandwiches. But I went ahead and cut this into 4ths. And then I'm going to go ahead and roll these out. I did not realize that French bread, that you actually roll it out and then you roll it up. And so I had no idea. This was a great adventure in bread making. You guys, I am learning so much by putting myself on this limited budget. It makes me use what I have. I've got a ton of things to make bread, and it's so much cheaper. This bread cost me pennies to make. And so I did 4 loaves. And of course, with French bread, you want to score the top of it, put a few scores in there. And so I went ahead and did that. And I ended up with 4 mini loaves that turned out amazing. Now let's go back to our lasagna, where I did make 2 smaller pans of this. If I would have had one for tonight, one for the freezer. And look at this French bread, you guys. You can see the first 2 that I didn't pinch them quite good enough, but oh, yummy. So here's the lasagna, fresh bread, and a salad for dinner. Then the next day, I forgot to take pictures, so you got my bowl, just leftovers. On Thursday, it was a work night, so it was a plop things together as quick as you can. We had a jar of meatballs, some brown gravy, some instant potatoes, and some vegetables, and dinner is on the table. Again, you guys, prep work is the key. If you are working a lot, that is definitely the key to success. So it turned out so yummy. And then I totally forgot to take pictures of leftovers on Friday. So that's how I am. And then on Saturday, I decided to roast a chicken. And I did the spatchcock chicken, which means that you flatten it out. The way that I find it works the best, you guys, is to take a pair of kitchen shears, cut out the backbone, super easy, and then you just flatten the chicken out. And I'm making this look harder than it is, you guys. It's been a while since I've done this, so it does take a little bit of getting used to. So you cut the backbone out, I clean the chicken a little bit more, and then you literally just smash it down and flatten it out. And that is it. So super super easy. And then you guys, we're going to go ahead and use some bacon fat that we have saved. Instead of using butter, we've got lots of bacon fat. So I went ahead and I just softened this just a little bit so that I could spread it around my chicken. I went ahead and did some black pepper, some salt, and a yummy seasoning. Now, don't worry, you guys. I did wash my hands in between. Handling chicken and my spices, I'm not going to mess around with that cross-contamination. So don't worry about that. So we've got black pepper in there. We're going to go ahead and add some salt in. And like I said, we're going to go ahead and add a garlic and herb seasoning that was oh so yummy. This is a Pampered Chef seasoning, and it is a rub seasoning. So I'm just going to mix this together, and I'm measuring with my heart, you guys. I am not actually measuring these, and I'm sorry it's not on camera, but there it is right there. So you can see I put a lot of seasoning in with that lard right there, that bacon fat. I guess I don't know if that technically lard. And then you guys, I am just going to spread this all over the chicken, and I'm actually going to go ahead and get under the skin and put some of that under the skin. And I think that is key for a delicious chicken, because then not only is it on the outside of the skin, but it's on the meat too. And you guys, I am not a big fan of chicken skin. Even if it's crunchy, it's not my thing. So I love having the seasoning underneath. And you can see that at first I was going to plop some of it on top, and I'm like, oh, wait. And you can do it, put your fingers under the skin on the breast and on the thigh. You can kind of make the little gaps for those to go in there, and it just makes it so, so yummy. So I'm going to go ahead and spread this over the chicken. And then, of course, we're going to spread it over the skin as well. Oh my goodness, wait until you guys see this chicken once it's done. Look at how this chicken turned out. We roasted it in cast iron. Oh my yummy. Then we went ahead and air fried some potatoes, and these were our home canned potatoes. We put some dill and some seasonings on there. Here is our chicken out of the pan. Oh my goodness, I had cut it in half by then. And here's our dinner. Look at this. This is my CPA relish, you guys, that I can up, cranberry apple pear relish. And then you guys, we've got some bonus stuff we did this week. We jarred up some jalapeno candy. You guys saw that I bought those jalapenos, so I want to show you that I actually use the jalapenos. Now, the reason why I want to do this is I actually had brine left over on my shelf from doing it last time. So I just poured the brine into my pot, boiled up my jalapenos, and started canning up some jalapeno candy. Oh my goodness, so, so yummy. And then our next bonus recipe is our banana bread. Who doesn't love banana bread? This banana bread had sour cream in it. So yummy. Then we're going to go ahead and make some tortillas. This is the first time I've ever made tortillas. I had more footage filmed, but it's not that hard, you guys. There are so many recipes out there. I used the recipe that I just saw Rachel from that 1870s homestead use, except for I didn't have avocado oil. So here I am just trying to mix together my ingredients, which of course are very simple. We have got, what do we have in here? Flour, salt, water. I mean, tortillas are very basic. And then one thing Rachel said on hers is it's very important to let your tortilla dough rest. And so that's what I'm doing here, is putting it all together, and then we're going to let it rest. And this recipe right here makes about 12 tortillas. And so I went ahead and let them rest and rolled them on out. As with most things in life, practice makes perfect. My first couple tortillas needed a little bit of help. But it is one of those things that I don't know why I haven't been doing this all along, you guys. Even for my first batch that wasn't perfect, it was so yummy. And it's such a sense of accomplishment to make something for pennies that, depending on which brand you're buying at the store, you could be buying much more. So then we grilled them on up. This is the new pan I bought for myself. I'm so excited about that. And then, of course, you guys, once they were all done, we had some yummy tacos. All right, you guys, that's it for this week's video. Until we see you next time, remember to keep on smiling. Bye, everybody.